I have here one of the very first copies of the new updated ESV Stridon from Schuyler Bibles, but I also have one of the OG copies. So in this video, we're going to do a side-by-side comparison. I'm going to tell you about the differences and show you what they look like. But before we dive in and do an overhead video, let's kind of set the scene a little bit. So by the way, this is the new marbled crimson calfskin, which is also incredible. I like it a lot. So Schuyler announced recently that they were doing a new run of the ESV Stridon. Okay, if you're not familiar with the Stridon, it is a single column, verse by verse reference Bible design from Schuyler. They produce it in the ESV, the NASB, and the NKJV. If you haven't seen my video, I did it about a month ago of the NKJV Stridon. You've got to check it out. There's a couple of very specific reasons why I think that's the best NKJV Bible available today. It's premium, high quality, incredible Bibles. And yes, you get this single column, verse by verse, wide margin, really great Bible. I think it works well in any translation for preaching, teaching, deep Bible study. I just think the Stridon is an incredible Bible design. So Schuyler announces, hey, it's time for us to make more of the ESV Stridons, but the ESV has been updated. We talked about this on my channel earlier this year that Crossway, the publisher of the ESV, is doing the ESV 2025, a slight update to their translation. And so naturally, other companies that publish the ESV are going to eventually have to update the text in their Bibles. So Schuyler said, hey, we know we have to update the ESV Stridon because we're doing a new run. We want to get it into the 2025 text. We also took this as an opportunity to look at the Stridon and say, do we want to make any other tweaks? And they did. I want to read to you the post that they put out on Facebook because I think this is really insightful. So it's called The New Stridon Backstory. While the original design was strong, we saw an opportunity to enhance the overall writing experience, particularly because the format naturally supports study and note-taking. In this revision, we maintained the format and footprint, but expanded the margins to better accommodate notes. As a result, the font size was slightly reduced. We also selected a slightly heavier paper to provide a smoother, more comfortable writing surface. Of course, this enhancement adds a bit of weight. Mr. Stridon has gained a few ounces. The outcome, we hope, is a true wide margin Bible with a significantly smaller footprint than the traditional wide margin class. Ultimately, it will be our readers who determine the success of this new creation. I love that Schuyler's just being honest with us about how, hey, we had this opportunity to make some tweaks. We thought about it because of the translation change. We thought about it and we decided to make some specific updates. What are those updates? One, they widened the margins. Hang on just a moment. I'm going to show you this in the Bibles. They widened the margins from 1 inch to 1.2 inches on the outer side of the page. On the bottom of the page, they're even a little bit more than that. Because of that, to keep the pagination the same, they decreased the type size from a 10-point font to a 9.5-point font. Again, small change. They moved from 28 GSM paper, you can probably see just from these Bibles sitting here, 28 GSM paper to 36 GSM paper. They are the exact same page numbers, but this Bible is significantly thicker because they went with a heavier paper. And all of that, they say, is to help with the writing experience, the note-taking experience. There's a couple of other tweaks that they made as well that I'll show you when we open these Bibles. But I think it turned out fantastic, but it is slightly different. I wouldn't say that one is necessarily better than the other, but I will say this. This one, when it's sold out, it's currently still available in several different leatherways and color options. When this one's sold out, it's just going to be this one that's available. So if you watch this video and you go, oh, I really like the older version for whatever reason, you might want to go ahead and pick one of those up. I'll put a link in the video description to Schuyler's website. All of the new ones very clearly say new in the title on their website. And then they also, when you go to the specs, it says 36 GSM paper. It says 2025 text. That sort of thing. But a few small changes, but I think it's really interesting to just kind of get inside the mind of the folks at Schuyler a little bit and see what they were thinking, and then now to be able to compare it side by side and see how it turned out. So are you ready? Let's dive in. We're going to do an overhead video and compare these two Bibles side by side. Okay, the new ESV Stridon on the left, the old one on the right. You can see this is the desert camel calfskin. Look at this cross design. See the thickness of those smaller crosses, those 4 smaller crosses. Now look at the new one. This is the marbled crimson. I love this. It's like a thinner, smaller cross. I think they've tweaked their logo just a little bit, but this looks great. Full yap, double tool or a single tooled line with a perimeter stitch. raised spine hubs, gold stamping, kind of a deep dark burgundy on the inside with matching red ribbons. This looks fantastic. The box also has that new design on it. There you see that. And they've added to the back of the box, they've put some information about Schuyler as a company and how they do things, which I think is really interesting. So other than the cross, the only real thing you're going to notice about the Bibles from the outside is the thickness, right? You can see it there. As I mentioned earlier, the old one, they have it listed on their website as 1.3 inches wide at the text block and 1.5 inches, so about a 1/4 of an inch difference. I like to measure with the leather, so this one with the leather is just a little bit over 1.5 inches, and this one is just a little bit under 2 inches. So I think the actual difference between them, and these are comparable leathers, I think the actual difference between them is more like 0.4 of an inch, right? So it's going to be about 0.4 inches thicker. So it is a thicker Bible, but again, you're getting thicker paper. So let me open this one up real quick for you. A little card from Schuyler that tells you about them. We're going to get into presentation page, family records, Holy Bible. Here you have your English Standard Version, Schuyler, and then here you're going to see copyright 2025. So the ESV Text Edition, like copyright 2001, ESV Text Edition 2025. So that's all the copyright information on this Bible. This is actually, I wondered if it was going to be the same pagination, so the exact same page numbers as the old edition, and it is. I'll show you that in a moment. So when you get in here, you see, as I said before, single column, verse by verse, and then at the bottom of the page, you have on the inside of the page, you're going to get the cross references, and on the outside of the page, you're going to get the textual footnotes. Those are the two things you get on every single page. So when you go to the left page, you still get inside of the page, cross references, outside of the page, textual footnotes. Single column, verse by verse. The only real thing they've changed in the text block itself is that they've got the bolded verse numbers, which they didn't have in the previous ESV edition. They did that with the NKJV. So now they have bolded verse numbers whenever there's a new paragraph. In a verse-by-verse Bible, that's helpful, I think. So I put a little marker in here in the book of Esther. So there you see Esther, real nice, wide, and open. 1.2 inch margins that used to be 1 inch. And then down here, it was about a 1/4 of an inch, and now it's more like 3/4 of an inch. So it's almost 1/2 inch bigger at the bottom. So you have more space all the way around. You have 36 GSM paper. So here we go. Esther starts on page 678. If I open up this Bible to 678, I'm still getting Esther. So there you have it, side by side, the two Bibles. I'll kind of hold this one up so it's a little bit flatter for you to see. Now, I'll bring these up in just a moment and show you, but you can see it's the exact same pagination. That's because the ESV text in the 2025 versus the 2016 has not changed significantly enough for there to be totally different page numbers. They're not adding a bunch of stuff or taking a bunch of stuff away. And because they've taken the same typesetting, and in order to give it wider margins, they've just made the typeface a little bit smaller, so they didn't have to redesign every page number. So it's gonna match. I don't know if that's gonna be specifically interesting to a lot of people, but I think it's interesting. They're both, what did I write down? 1,892 pages is where the end of the concordance ends. They're both exactly the same. So there's going to be a few small differences because of the 25 text versus the 2016 text, but the overall look is going to feel the same. But you can see right here, slightly bigger margins on the bottom. I don't know if you can tell from where you're looking at, but the typeface does not seem that much smaller. I imagine some people are going to go, oh, it really bums me out that they made the typeface smaller. I hear that from people all the time. But I think this is a 10. Looks really nice. It's great. Fantastic Bible. This is a 9.5. Again, looks really great. The question is, can I tell the difference? Yes, I can tell the difference, but it's very, very minimal. Literally 5%. You have a 10-point typeface, you're going to a 9.5 typeface. That's a 10%, no, 5%. That's a 5% difference. It's just not that big. And I actually like the look of having a little bit more margin space. Again, they talked about how they wanted this to be a good Bible to write in. The other thing they did, the thickness of it, is because of the 36 GSM paper. Look at the paper here. It's going to be a little bit thicker, heavier, but look at the ghosting on the other side of the page. You can see a little bit of that text in there on the other side of the page. On this one, you can see a lot more of that. So the paper is going to be slightly more opaque, a little bit thicker, better for writing. But again, it's a much bigger, thicker Bible. People ask about why don't they do all of their Bibles in 36 GSM? Well, because a lot of people would rather have a more portable, lightweight Bible than a thick Bible. This is one of the things that we're talking about in that Facebook post, is that you have a trade-off, right? You want to do slightly bigger margins, but you don't want to add pages to the book, so then you shrink the typeface just a little bit so that you can keep it as thin as possible because you are thickening the paper. So there's all of these decisions in Bible publishing that have to be made. And one tweak here will mean that you have to make another tweak here, or it's going to end up being the biggest Bible you've ever seen, or the heaviest Bible you've ever seen, or on the vice versa. If you try to make it smaller, it's going to make those things all change. So it's really interesting to see what they've done. So wider margins, thicker paper, bold verse numbers, a slightly smaller typeface. I think it turned out really, really great. And of course, it's got the ESV 2025 text. So it's the latest and greatest. I put another ribbon in here in the Gospel of Mark. So you see the Gospel of Mark starts on page 1431. In this Bible, the Gospel of Mark starts on page 1431. Now I just switched you out a little bit. Now this is the 2025, the new one, versus the old one. Very, very similar. The type size, again, I imagine that's what most of you are going to be like, I don't know if that's too small for me. I'm sitting here looking at these going, I don't see that big of a difference. Like, this one is not so noticeably smaller that I can't read it or something like that. It's noticeable, but barely noticeable. The rest of this Bible, you're going to notice that the text is line matched, the same as the first one. It's a black letter text for the ESV, so they're not using red letter in the New Testament for the words of Christ. It's got more than 80,000 cross-reference entries on the bottoms of these pages. It's got a full concordance at the back. Let me show you that real quick. So you have the concordance, a 2-column concordance. That's actually a lot easier to read than some of the 3-column ones that are out there. It's got Schuyler's Bible maps, which are the best in the game. Absolutely beautiful. I love these maps that they've done. It's a full-on big premium Bible. Kind of to their point that they made again in that Facebook post, it's not as big as their wide margin Bible, which is the Quintel series. They have a really big, thick, but it is closer to that than the previous Stridon was. So it's a big, beefy Bible, but it's also, I think that the tweaks that they've made make a lot of sense. Again, I love that they were honest with us and saying, hey, we've got to make some decisions here. We have an opportunity. We think that making these changes really makes sense for a Bible that you can write in, you can study in, you can really dig deep with. I love the way it turned out. I think they're both fantastic Bibles, but the new one is really, really nice. So there you have it, the original ESV Stridon versus the new updated ESV Stridon. I would love to know what you think, so leave me a comment and let me know. As I said earlier in the video, I'm going to put a link to the Schuyler Bible's website. These are both currently for sale. As I'm recording and releasing these videos, these are both currently for sale on their website. The new ones very clearly say new on the website, and when you click into the page for each leather option, you'll see that it says 36 GSM, or this one will say 28 GSM. This one will say 2025 text. So make sure you order the right one. There's a lot of different leather options, a lot of different colorways for you to choose from. But again, let me know what you think in the comments. Please share any questions you have as well. If you've already gotten a copy of the new one, I would love to hear from you. So let us know what you think about it. Thank you so much to Schuyler Bibles for sharing this Bible with me so that I could share it with you. It's really cool of them to do that and to be open to me doing this comparison video. And thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy videos like this, then click the like button for me. Definitely subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and surf around on my channel and find more great videos. I've reviewed a ton of Schuyler Bibles, so I'll put the link in the video description to my playlist of all of my Schuyler Bible videos. If you'd like to see some more Stridon videos or just other Schuyler videos in general, you can click that link and find it. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time.